Hi, Donald Dem here with Floating Feathers Kayak Fly Fishing School and another tips and tricks. And this tips and tricks is on using a stakeout pole or push pole. I call it a stakeout pole. They've got several different names on it. But basically it's in lieu of an anchor. And this is a shallow anchor, shallow water anchor kind of thing. I'm only going to use half of this because my ceiling is only 8 foot and this is getting a little close to the top of the ceiling there. But this is kind of an idea of when to use a shallow water anchor or a push stakeout pole, however you want to say this. I'm going to continue to call this a stakeout pole. You can call it a shallow water anchor, whatever you want to call it to. Anyway, I use it in conjunction with my anchor trolley, and we just did a video on that, on the purpose of an anchor trolley. That was another tips and tricks video, so please watch that before this one if you want to know why to use an anchor trolley or how to use one. It's right in there. So I use a shallow water anchor if I'm in 8 to 10 feet of water or less. And the reason I can use 10 feet of water is because my shallow water anchor is actually 15 feet long. So I have a little bit left up top so that I can anchor in a little muddier water and things like that. When I'm in the marshes, the salt marshes, it allows me to stick that down in that soft mud a foot or two and still have enough room left over on that stakeout pole that I can use it efficiently. But I use it in lieu of an anchor. In shallow water, an anchor, it will anchor you just fine. But I find that it takes a little bit more to get it up and down, position it, move it, everything else. When a stakeout pole, I simply slip through the ring, whatever ring you may have on your anchor trolley. This happens to be a Yak Attack lever lock anchor trolley. So this is the ring that comes with it. So I just slip my stakeout pole right through that ring. I will position myself, because I will position this ring right about where my seat is at. Excuse me. I will then stick the stakeout pole in the mud or the dirt or the sand or the oyster bed or whatever's down there, and I will make sure that it's in there and secure as much as I can. And then I will use my anchor trolley to move that anchor, you know, to the front of the boat or to the back of the boat. And then when I get it to where I want to, I will lock that in place. And what that does, because I'm not able to move the kayak in this position, and in this situation, I'm actually moving the anchor, but you will actually move the kayak forward and backwards based on where that pole is at. And then I will fish. I will catch my fish, or if I'm not catching fish, or whenever I'm done anchoring, I will simply unlock that anchor. I will be able to move that kayak to a place where I can then take the stakeout pole out. I will put that back on my kayak, and I will paddle away. So that is when I use a stakeout pole, what a stakeout pole is, and how to use it with an anchor trolley. I cannot stress this enough, but I'm going to try to say this several times. Do not put a stakeout pole, push pole, whatever you want to call it, stakeout pole through your scuppers in your kayak. They are not built to withstand the pressure from side to side that a stakeout pole applies on your kayak. So do not, repeat, do not use scupper holes or scuppers as a placement to put your your stakeout pole. It is not a good idea. It will actually cause some damage to you, potentially cause damage to your kayak. And not only that, it's just in the way when you're trying to fish. It's right in the middle of the kayak. It's not going to be as effective as you think it is. If you're going to use a stakeout pole, get an anchor trolley. It's the best thing you can do in shallow water, other than getting one of those fancy motorized shallow water anchors, and they work great. I don't use those. I've had them. I got rid of them. I just did not like the fact the way it was sticking up in the air behind me, especially as a fly fisher. It just offered 8 feet of snags for me to catch my fly rod on, a fly line on. And not to mention when I'm fishing shallow waters and creeks, it's got 8 feet up in the air, or 4 feet even if I lower it halfway. It just became too cumbersome for me to use comfortably, so I resorted to the old thing. There's a lot of different kind of stakeout poles you can get. You can make your own. You can buy some pre-made. You cannot get this one anymore, so I apologize for using this one. But I really like this. I've had this, I don't know, 6 years now, probably. It's from Bending Branches. It was called the Optimus. It's actually a system that allows me to use it as a shallow water anchor or push out pole, stakeout pole, and a push pole with a T-handle on it so I can push myself around in shallow waters, and it actually has an attachment on it so that I can use this on any of their bending branches and make it a sup paddle, so one-sided paddle. So it works really well, but you can't buy them anymore unless you find them used. Anyway, that is tips and tricks from me right here at Floating Feathers Kayak Fly Fishing School. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. We've got some announcement coming pretty soon about some subscriber potential, so keep an eye out for that. Subscribe every Tuesday, tips and tricks. Again, Donald, Floating Feathers Kayak Fly Fishing School. Thank you all for watching.